Welcome to the Underway podcast. Underway is the only way. Today is the day to get underway with the Underway podcast. Let's get underway.
I think we roll with that, man.
Should we get underway?
We should get underway.
All right. Did you guys notice that every time they start the events at Torian that Jeremy Austin says underway?
Well, it's a common word.
But he said it, he says it, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
It's a common word, yes, but also he says it every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Every time we start an event, he's like, and underway. And I'm like, we're not out there. No, that's not our heat.
They do that in like horse racing. I
I
think most races they do.
think they should bring back the 3, 2, 1, go.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, because it's standby. It's standby beep.
It might be.
Yeah, and you're just like on your toes waiting
You're
for the
just
beep.
like nearly falling over.
And sometimes it's 5 seconds, sometimes it's 10 seconds
Yeah.
between starting and the beat.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That was a good start.
yeah, here we
Well,
are.
actually, just on that though, I reckon because we call it CrossFit underway, every time you hear underway, you just think about it. It's like when you buy a new car, and then
Well,
you see 1,000 of your cars on the road, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But anyways, Jack, man, rip us off, man.
Welcome again. Today's episode, we've got Ben Newland on. Sam and I interviewing Benny. Ben, how you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Obviously, the Torian Pros just finished. 2023 CrossFit Oceania Championships. Ben and myself have competed at the competition, but today I'm going to be taking a step into the usual chair that I sit in, which is just going to be an interviewee. And Sam and I are going to be asking Benny some questions about his experience of the Torian Pro, and yeah, to give you guys the in-depth dive into Ben Newland and his athletic mind and how it works and functions, and learn a bit more about him. So Ben, thanks for joining us, man.
Pleasure to be here.
And Ben, how was the Torian Pro this year?
It was good. Yeah, it was a good experience. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Always
heaps to learn.
Yeah, I feel like the pro goes by so quickly, or the weekend just happens so quickly. It's like the whole lead up to the comp is the thing that almost drags out and is really long and is almost like more important and more nerve wracking than the weekend itself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the hardest thing to actually recover from and reflect upon. But the weekend itself is awesome. It goes by so quickly, and you're hanging out with your mates, you're working out quickly, and there's all the members up there supporting you. It's really cool, and but yeah, it's almost like the lead up to the comp is the bigger thing.
Yeah, right. It's like you do this long process to go to a pinpoint.
Yeah, and it's
then-
just over like that.
Yeah, for sure. And so like for you, what you sort of said before, you're in this reflection process, or you feel like you haven't even started it yet because you're talking about this big training block and the weekend goes by so fast. Is there anything you do to process competitions and yeah, is it something that's like habitual for you after competitions that you do?
I think it's evolved over the years. I try to not reflect on stuff too much leading into the comp. And I try not to reflect on stuff over the course of the weekend because I don't want to sit there worrying about what could have been or what was. Instead, I just think about what the next event is and what I need to do to execute. Because you are what you are, you're not going to change anything. Nowadays, particularly, I try and just take it one event at a time and really enjoy the moment around that event. Like enjoy warming up, enjoy waiting in the corrals, enjoy running out on the floor, take each moment as it comes. Enjoy the workout itself and try not to think about other workouts. So I found when I was younger, I'd think about workouts. I'd think about the whole weekend as a whole before I'd even started it, going like, that's going to be a good workout for me. This isn't. And then some workouts like, I just need to get through this. I no longer have that approach. It's maximizing every single moment in every single workout, and being proud of every single moment that I can be, and taking wins and taking losses. And so with that sort of mindset, I don't actually really, the weekend just goes by like that and it's over. And now sitting back, I'll take a few days or a week or two sort of to reflect on each event and reflect on what could have been better or what I did well, and then what I might do in the preparation for next year.
But just on that, after you've obviously competed in the competition, do you reward yourself? Do you like go out to dinners or
Well, a lot of people are like, yeah,
He was just eating a burger when he looked up.
yeah. A lot of people are like, I don't really drink. I don't like to.
Yeah.
I find it's just not very conducive to training.
It's definitely.
It's definitely not. But if I want to have ice cream or I want to eat food, like I'll eat it. Like we train enough. I've trained for enough time that I know I can do that. But
So nothing actually changes after the comp.
not really. No. Like the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm not training. I trained yesterday. I did the class. But I just did that because I was sick of sitting home and I wanted to move.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, nothing for me in my life really changes.
You don't have this meal that someone cooks you like.
No.
You wait for that. That was no.
No. The biggest thing for me that I look forward to is like going from having 3 big things I'm focusing on to just having 2 things in my life.
That makes sense.
Training takes a back seat for a little bit. That's sort of what I enjoy.
And how was the athlete area this year? Both of you boys. Is it different?
Oh, I don't know.
People will like to hear this shit, man. I went down there. I took Joshy down to the athlete zone. He's like, dude, like I used to think it's so boring down here.
I don't know. I don't know about y'all that you answer the question as well, but I think the athlete area is like almost the best part of the comp because like I've got mates in Queensland that I get to see a couple of times a year now, and I see them at comps like Torian.
Yeah.
And guys from New South Wales are on the staff strength team, and like this is their only time to catch up, and it's just like everyone's sitting there between events, like laughing, having jokes, catching up, talking about the event. Like I can't think of any bad blood or any rivalry between anyone there. If someone has a good event, like we're stoked for them. If someone has a bad event, like if they come over and like give you a pat on the back and like, hey, like keep your chin up, like it's a really conducive, happy environment that I haven't really experienced in other high level sports.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bit of trash talk and stuff like that, but it's all in good jest.
And I guess like you're never probably in a room full of that many people who have the exact same goals. So I guess like you all understand because generally like we're lucky to have both of you guys in the gym, obviously training towards the same goal. Where some gyms just have one person or one person in the state that competes in, or in the city that they compete. So yeah, and you probably used to talk on Instagram and then throw you all in the room and
Well, I remember one of the highlights for me was because they've got the TVs in the athlete area that you get to watch all the events on. And we're all kicking back after the final event, and I think Rob Watt's on, and he's just sending it on the Echo bike, and like the whole athlete area, the roof's just like coming off because like we all know what that takes to do that, and the balls it takes to do that, and everyone's just like cheering and like yelling at him. We know he can't hear us at all, but like the room's electric, and we're just yelling at him to go harder and go harder and go harder, and it was like. It was fucking unreal.
It was so funny. In all honesty, I thought he was going to die in the second round, but he made it through the second round.
He kept going, and like he's my competitor. He's our competitors, but we're yelling at him to do something unreal because we want to see it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that we're in a sport where that is what the community's about.
Yeah.
It's not the opposite.
So do you get free stuff? I know there's obviously masseuses and stuff. There's masseuses down there. What else is down there? Do you get free fit aids or what?
The recovery area is pretty good. We get I got treatment after a couple of events. Which is really good.
And what the hell are you laughing at then?
We don't get free stuff. we pay so much money to be there.
Oh, that must have been an inside joke.
Yeah. But
nah, you just had a couch.
Credit to Torian. Credit to Torian. Credit to Mike Towner. We got to keep the ruck.
Oh,
that was cool. We were told we weren't going to get to keep the ruck, and everyone was a little bit upset because it's pretty cool. So I think someone might have talked to him or someone might have mentioned something, but he came down and he's like, "Yeah, you guys can keep the ruck," and that was on Torian. Like they paid for the rucks. Out of their own pocket, as far as I'm aware.
Their own pocket, which was funded by you guys.
Yes. But I think that was like that's what we get, and like the athlete area is good. Like you got couches, you got a TV, and like obviously we got all the.
I reckon it was better this year. You guys are roasting it, but
no, it's good.
Is it Rogue? Is it Rogue that does the rock?
Like Go Rock.
Go Rock.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
I remember on someone's Instagram last night. I think it was Zach Thomas. He did a Q&A or something. It's like, what was your favourite part of the weekend? He's like, finding out I got to keep the ruck.
It's so comfy. It's so much better than a vest.
Well, I thought, because I originally asked you, like, you were saying you were sad you didn't get to keep it.
Yeah.
And then I saw Jack on the bus. How much is it?
The Go Ruck's $515.
Far out.
Is that? Oh, but that's like a backpack. Have you got the Go Ruck
Yeah.
ruck? With
That's
in it?
not right. There's no. That's gonna be 5 rucks.
Yeah.
No, that's what
One
the
ruck.
talk was, that it was a $600 ruck.
Really?
So it's around that price, yeah.
Well,
Fucking, these are making profit, boys.
there's that rego fee.
It feels that rego fee feels a lot better now that we got the ruck. Because
Well, hold
how
on.
much was the rego
What
fee,
was it
Vinny?
in previous years?
The rego fee was. Oh, wait, am I allowed to say?
Yeah,
No, it was
Just
just
$6.
$506.
And what was the previous year?
I have no idea.
I think it was 450.
Yeah, and I think teams was 1,200. This year.
Yeah.
That's up 3 times.
Yeah.
Last year the team spent like 600, 500 bucks.
Yeah.
I know that because we paid
They
them.
paid for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
For 1,500.
Oh, no, 1,200.
Jesus. Oh, anyway, okay.
Don't.
But I
Anyway.
mean, look at the event that they put on.
Yeah.
Everything literally ran to the second.
Yeah. That was true, actually.
There was a lot of
not
fire
bad.
going off during the events, like way more than last year.
Fire.
They had,
The pyrotechnics were off tap.
I think it was something like 600 athletes. I might be getting that wrong, with 600 athletes competing across the 3 days, and they somehow logistically managed the main arena, the 2 arenas outside, teams, adaptive, masters, elite, pro, for teams as well. I'm happy to pay that rego fee.
I will say it did
Yeah.
run smoothly.
That was
There's the only thing that a few little stuff ups with the teams when they were coming into the
Yeah.
main, but it wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, it did run smoothly, and also you guys probably didn't even see, but outside was flipping going off.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys. I was looking around the stadium, and I'm gonna lie, I was like, "Oh, it's pretty empty. Man. What's going on?" Like around the bigger heats and main times.
Mm.
I go outside, and it's mental because obviously it's like sunny and whatnot. There was like
Yeah.
5 comps going on.
Yeah, that DJ was good out.
Yeah, literally.
Everyone was saying they needed to swap the DJ over.
Yeah. And
The
I
outside DJ. So,
was the music quieter this year?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm not sure.
Melly was telling me because he's
Oh, no.
does music and whatnot. He's just saying because we were sitting behind the speaker last year, so it was really loud and behind us. Well, this year we're on the side of the sound.
Mm.
So I was just trying to work out if it because we couldn't really I don't know.
I didn't spend much time in the stands, so.
Oh yeah, you weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
But I did see you spend a little bit of time in the stands, and I saw a cute photo of you sleeping on your mum.
Yes, I was like,
So was that special to have your mum there at the event?
Yeah.
Was your
yeah.
dad there too?
Yeah, Dad was there.
That's
yeah.
really cool. I only found that out like on day 3 I've never even met your parents, but I knew straight away I could see them. I'd be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're 2 Benny Newland lookalikes, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's such a sweet.
You know how many
That's such a
people
sweet
were like,
photo.
Sam, Ben's parents.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Thought so. They look exactly like
they
it.
live in Queensland, so I don't get to see them very often. But
So it was special to have them at the event.
Have they
Yeah.
watched a lot of your comps?
yeah,
Younger?
ever since I was younger, Mum and Dad never missed a beat. They were always there, like athletics day, swimming day,
Oh, yeah, they love
cross country, touch footy. They were like surf life saving. They were there all the time.
Awesome.
So it's really special to have them there. They don't understand a lot about CrossFit. They don't quite know all the movements and what's going on, but they ask questions. And I feel bad because I get frustrated at them for asking questions. So I'm like, why don't you know this?
What's an example
What's
of
a
the question?
first
Oh, like what the workout is, and I'm explaining what the workout is, and then Dad will ask me a question about it. I'm like, no. But then I feel bad for getting annoyed because it's like I'm stressed about the event. They're just there to support me. They've taken time out of their weekend because they just love me, and it's really, really, it meant a lot that they were there. Dad couldn't make it last year, Mum did. So this was his first time there, and I think now he's even mentioned potentially starting CrossFit.
Oh,
So-
he's left with that Torian high.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a little room right
That's a real thing.
So that was really cool.
That is cool.
And it's like he's mid-60s, she's late 60s, they don't look it. And it's sort of like, you can start CrossFit at any time.
Yeah.
And it'll benefit you in the long run.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely.
I'm due to do CrossFit. I
Oh,
better go gym tonight.
We're not talking about CrossFit.
Well, we went a little bit sidetracked there, but we were sort of talking about how you processed the weekend. I guess did we ask what was your favorite event?
I don't think I had one. The events were odd this year. I felt like they were no, I'm not criticizing the program because I know how hard it is to program for events. but they were just different events. I didn't have a favorite. I didn't have a least favorite.
Not
I-
even the lift, or is it just because you didn't have enough time to lift?
I mean, like but it's like it's not for me. It was a cool event, but it wasn't what I was working on all year.
Yeah.
Like I don't lift a lot anymore. It's more of an event that's I'm not going to say damage control, but it's not something that I'm looking to do to really showcase on. It's just like get the work done. I'm now nowadays focusing on events that I'm poor at. So things like running and longer workouts. Those are the ones that I really want to do.
So if you had to pick a workout to repeat tomorrow,
None of them.
so
No.
you don't have a fun one.
No, I don't have a favorite. I think probably Linda, to be honest. Like, I
yeah.
was really looking forward to Linda. I just had a really bad time on the bench press. Didn't get a chance to practice it in training, which would have been really beneficial. And I was, when you got a good workout, that's like a good workout for you, you generally go out a little bit too hot and you try and hold a pace that you want to be able to hold. And maybe not what you can hold. And I definitely sprung the trap on that one. But I was definitely looking forward to Linda. And
Yeah.
if I think about my least favourite workout, it was definitely event one. Just the 2K run in the middle was miserable. But again, it gets me excited to turn that into a strength in the next 12 months. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And so, like, you say that you'd like to redo Linda and be able to give that another crack. And it's like, we do CrossFit all year round. It's our job. We coach it. We teach the stuff. You and I are both athletes. We're both coaches. We both teach the stuff. Sam's a coach too. Sam does CrossFit year round. Why, when you get out on the floor, do you not nail your strategy like that? Why does that happen? Because I sort of still don't get it. Because it's
That's
like
a great
you've done it for 10 plus years. Like you've got one job, and in that event, it's to nail your pacing. So why did that happen?
I thought I was nailing my pacing. It's all good movements for me. And having played around with it in training, didn't do the workout, but I did the reps and played around with the movements. The dumbbell bench wasn't an issue, and then on the day it was an issue. And it was just something that came left SN, and I was like, oh shit, like
Was it just a cumulative fatigue?
I don't know. I think so.
It's the only thing that makes sense to me because that was event number what?
It was event number 3,
And that was after the ring dip one?
after the
That's the only thing that makes sense in my
Yeah.
head.
And maybe it was like, I know stress has a role to play, and when you're more excited about an event like that, arousal's turned up a little bit. It could also be stress, and stress generally makes things harder to perform. Maybe I went out too hot, potentially, which I definitely think could be the case. But again, it's always a battle for me
Maybe.
in my mind.
What are we talking about here? What are we getting at here, Benny? Come on, man.
It's always a battle in my mind of like, are you gonna go for it or not? Like,
right.
Too often, like at the end of the day, the person that wins is gonna be the person that goes the fastest, or can hold the fastest pace for the longest. How do you know if you can do it if you don't go there and do it? And no one in that top 30 is going into their training and not doing that. And if you aren't, like, you're not going to make it. If you aren't, you're not going to be there. And so I never want to lose that ability to just push into something that's really, really uncomfortable and have a go. And sometimes using the stage that Torian is, it's like an elevated performance. It had the opposite effect. It was a lesson. I reflect back on that and be like, all right, we've got to work on certain things. But there's always that argument in the head of like, I don't want to not go for it in an opportunity, and I don't want to sit back and have a backseat and just be okay or just be mediocre.
What round was it that you faded?
Sevens.
Yeah.
So I went that set 9, 10. 10, 9, 8, and then the sevens, I just started failing.
Yeah.
I was like,
everyone in the crowd sort of thought, like everyone in the crowd, our little section was like talking about you tore your pec or something.
Yeah, I had some.
Well, like, oh, don't worry, just tore his pec. Just tore his pec, guys. Yeah. It's all good.
I had some issues with my bicep and pec through quarters.
Yeah.
But it was fine. Like, Well, nothing was
It
bothering
was
me.
it was
It
literally just it wasn't injury. It was literally just you were cooked.
I was cooked. Yeah, I could not. I think I stayed in around 7 for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Trying to
it was
get
like
to the
4.
bench.
It was like 4.
It was a fucking eternity.
But I sound like a little bit cheeky when I'm asking that question, but it's just because I'm just poking the bear to get the
Yeah.
real story is all I'm doing because I know exactly what it's like to be there.
Yep.
And you know, I can definitely hear you and understand that you want to show up to that that show or that stage and use that energy to try and do something epic.
Mm.
And you know, you're someone that's pretty strong. That I'd say that's a wheelhouse workout for Linda. I know you were talking to me prior to the event. You're like, yeah, I'm excited for Linda. You know, and it's like what is the lesson there? What do you feel like the lesson there is?
I'll probably sound like a smart ass answering this, but I'm gonna get fitter.
Right.
Like honestly, it's probably.
I don't think you sound like a smart ass, by the way.
But like delving away from the question maybe a little bit, it's just like I look back at my preparation for the event. It wasn't ideal. I wasn't training as much as I should have been. I probably wasn't getting sessions as much as I should have been or as hard as I should have been.
Mhm.
I just have other priorities. And so my conditioning in general for that event going in wasn't where I thought it was. And that was probably a bit arrogant of me as well. And like I went out thinking I was more capable than I was.
Mhm.
And then that I think is the biggest lesson for me, and that's something that I definitely am reflecting upon is like making sure that the entire lead up to next year from now is me doing the things that I need to be doing repeatedly and not just doing them for a 12-week block and being like, all right, sweet, like I did that, let's move on to the next thing. And then, or maybe not having a great 12 weeks of training and then a shit 6 weeks of training. It's having a really consistent next 12 months where I know and I trust that I'm actually doing the work that when I turn up on the floor, I can actually perform what I know I'm capable of performing. But yeah, just have more capacity, get fitter.
In saying that was a really good answer, but we didn't know we were going to do dumbbell bench press until a couple of weeks prior.
No, but there's work in training that I've missed, like muscle endurance stuff, capacity work, because I haven't had time.
Yeah.
I haven't made time for it. I've had other things on that I've hit the main workout.
Right.
Or I've walked in
Shortcuts.
and done something. Yeah, I've taken shortcuts because I've had to. And so it's just like now for next season, it's being more aware of my timetable, more aware of the time that I have, that I can actually, and being more transparent as well with my coach of being like, what do I really need to work on and talking to him a little bit more so that I know I'm actually doing the things that I know I need to be working on to, sort of fill those holes a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I think you hit the nail on the head there, but I'm not quite sure what your not what your priorities are. But from the outside looking in, I've obviously watched you boys train. Well, watched Ben train, and some days I did feel like training was like the third thing on your list. And I've seen him at 7 p.m. at night doing a workout, or 6 p.m. at night doing a workout after, I don't know, coaching for a whole day going uni, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, yeah, I did sort of feel like training was a little bit on your back burner. That's what I felt. So are you gonna change that, or are your priorities still the same?
No, my this is the hard thing, so they're gonna juggle with a lot. And I know Jack and I had a long conversation about it before Torian as well. But like I wear 3 hats. Like I've got my coaching hat, got my uni hat, I've got my training hat, and all day I'm sort of rotating between those different hats because I want to try and whatever I'm doing, maximize the quality of what I'm doing. But for me, uni's number one because that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And people ask like, why do you put so much pressure and stress on yourself to get good grades at uni and study so much? Is basically is like if you had the option between choosing between an osteo that's gotten 90% on their test or 50% on their test, which one would you go to? You go to the guy that's getting 90% of the test. It's like a surgeon or something. I want someone cutting you open who's just got through on passes. You want HDs. And so that's what I want to be. So I want to be that osteo that someone's going to come to in the future with something people haven't been able to solve and been able to fix it. And that's me caring about the future people that I'm going to look after. And so nothing is more important in the sense of that. If my training has to suffer because of that, that is okay. And that's something that I've acknowledged. And it was a hard pill to swallow at Torian because my worst ever finish as an individual. But arguably I'm the hardest field I've ever competed against. And my whole goal this year was just to qualify. And I did that. I just qualified. I honestly didn't think that I could. And so I was really proud of that. And then obviously second priority in uni is work. I've got to, keep making some money and keep earning a living through uni. And also, I love coaching. I love giving back. And then training sits third.
Yeah.
And obviously relationship, number one at the top, but generally the things that are most important get pushed down. And so it's always just juggling those things. But going to every season, I talk to my coach about this, Luke. He knows that there are periods of time where I can train for an hour and a half a day.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then there'll be periods of time where I can train for 2 or 3 hours a day and I can do double sessions. And it'll just change, and we're over sort of working and evolving with that. And it's just going into the season with the acknowledgement that training is down the list of priorities. If I make it, fantastic. If I don't, we acknowledge that that can happen, because there's a lot of people out there that is their sole focus. That is what they want to do. And that is what they want. That's their big goal for the year. For me, I've got many goals. Yeah. It's one of it. I love training. I love competing. I'm incredibly grateful to be there. But it isn't the be all and end all, as hard as that is to say, because I'm still very, very competitive and I still want to win. Yeah. So it's hard to not be disappointed when things don't go your way, but it's also an acknowledgement that for things to go your way, you have to put in the work. I didn't put in the work. I was putting in work elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a athlete / coach over here, sitting here, just a fan of the sport of CrossFit, sitting over here to hear that, because I'm like, this is Newland. This is Benny Newland here. We've got someone that snatches 140 kilos, clean and jerks 180 kilos. Like, he's like Matt Fraser when he started. Like, he's got literally the same lifts as Matt Fraser when he started, but he's got all this like CrossFit back, and like, imagine what he would do if he doubled down. If he just took a gap year on uni and just like full sent it. Like, I reckon Benny Newland would be a mad, like crazy athlete. He'd be pushing that podium for sure, man.
I don't want to.
That's literally what it comes down to. And there's many talented people out there that could do something that don't.
He's like, don't fire me up, man, because I'm this close to quitting uni.
I'm this close to quit CrossFit. It's a good point. But anyone that knows me and has followed me for years knows, like, I've had a lot of setbacks that I've come back from, injuries wise, and like big injuries, and the toll that takes on you to bust your ass in the gym with the goal of qualifying for the CrossFit Games and make that your sole priority, which is what I did for years. I worked my fucking ass off, and the reward I got from that was injuries. Yeah. And I know that's like, it's a very big blanket statement just to put on it, but it simplifies things. And I came back from injuries repeatedly to get back to sort of the same level. And I'm just tired of doing that. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm having a really good run of training at the moment, but I'm balancing that, and I'm smarter than I was. But I look at the young guys in the field, like Darcy or they like Zach Thomas, they want it.
Pete Ellis.
Yeah, like they want it, and I'm like, I'm in big beliefs. I don't want it. Like, I don't want to borrow that. I know the work that it takes to get there, or I can imagine the work that it takes to get there. And I'm like, I don't want to put that time and effort into something that I know I'm not going to get the reward from. Yeah. I'd rather put that time and effort into something.
I mean, I wouldn't say you're not going to get the reward from. I think deep down you do know you could make it if you wanted to, but I think
there's a lot of boys that could make it, and like, I think I don't even let myself have that thought.
So if you no, but what I'm saying is, if you said, I'm going to dedicate 2 years, and I'm not saying you should, because you should, because that's not what you want to do. But do you think if you dedicated 2 years and said, these are my last 2 years, I'm probably going to be competitive, I'm going to put everything into it, do you think you could not make it? I think you could, but I don't think.
I think I have the physical capacity.
Yes, but that makes sense.
But like, things have to fall your way. Like, I'd have to be able to handle the training volume without getting injured and do that consistently for like 2 years.
That's the physical capacity, though.
Yeah, to have
so
that.
Is it the mental part you feel like you don't have?
No, I think I have the mental part. It's just the physical capacity. Like, I don't know if I can handle that volume of training and stay healthy. And because of that,
and you don't obviously want to risk that.
I don't want to risk that. Yeah. Like, I'm the healthiest I've been in a long time. I'm the oldest I've been in a long time. I mean, Jack Douglas is 33 and he just qualified.
Yeah.
We had this brief chat with Luke on the weekend. He's like, mate, like, well, I see you next year. And I'm like, yeah, what else are we gonna do? And that's the thing for me is like, I love training.
Yeah.
I want to keep love training. I want to keep doing CrossFit for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I want to be snatching 100 kilos when I'm 100 years old. No one's ever done that before. I'll be the first to do it. You know, no one's going to be wiping my ass.
I love how he looks at me when he says that. Race you to it, bro.
Well, I'm 2 years old.
Yeah,
I'm winning the race. But yeah, like,
Get knee surgeries. You're like, I'm getting for that 100 kilo snatch.
But that's the thing, like, no
At 100 years
injuries,
old.
no injuries. Just like,
Yeah.
I want to keep enjoying training. I want to keep having fun. And you know, if that leads in a year or two to being the fittest I've ever been, and I walk out and I get the best performance I've ever had, great. Like, that's awesome. I'll take it. If it doesn't, then I'm keeping fit and I'm staying healthy and I'm working towards other goals that also mean a lot to me.
And you also just said that was your worst ever performance. I actually had someone ask me, was that Ben's first like competition? I'm like, no. Anyway,
Yeah.
so just for our people that might not actually know, how many times have you competed and what was your best finish? And
So that was the 5th time I've competed at Torian.
Yeah.
Once on the team, 4 times individual. But the times as individual was 2016, 2018, and 2019 or 2020 that season.
And what was your best finish?
So 2016 I finished 7th.
Yeah.
2018 I finished 12th. And then 2019, 2020 I finished in 7th again.
Oh, 7th. Sure.
So it was like, it was hard for me not being in the top 8. Because that's every year I've competed, I've pretty much been in the top 8. But it was also, for me, looking back on it, was like, well, you knew this would probably happen.
Yeah.
You hear that was the goal.
Well, yeah, your
Proud
original
of
goal
your
was just, as you said, was just to qualify.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Okay.
it shows me that I'm still competitive.
Yeah.
I still have that.
I definitely think you should take that away because not saying that you didn't train hard, but I did see you work some. Like I had some of the biggest days of work recently, like coming up to Torian, and he was at the gym all day with me, and then he trained at night. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So I would
There
take that.
Many candles.
Yeah.
Many hands.
So you
Many
should.
candles
I-
and many holes.
I think I definitely,
Yeah.
I definitely think you should be happy with your performance. In my opinion, I definitely think you should.
So when you say it changed, like, because you said usually you're at the top heat,
Yeah.
and then you're like you weren't the top heat, and then what was is that the change? Like, did you went feeling that, like feeling being in a lesser heat or a lower heat? Like, what did that feel like to be in a lower heat? And yeah, because it sounded like it tested you in the way that you had to think about what your goal was again and stay attached to what your goal was prior to Torian. Because once you were there and in it and competing and doing events and things were changing and you're doing well and doing badly, and then it was going up and down, you're on the roller coaster. Like, yeah, so what was that feeling of change?
It's a hard one to answer. I just kept reminding myself to be proud of my effort. I had Darcy's coach Sean. He's from CQ. Come up to me in the last event, and he I was in the first heat, and he just looked at me and he's like take a win, here. Like, you've had a great weekend. You should be really proud of your effort, but like take a win. And he didn't mean like win the heat or win the event or anything like that. He's like, do something that you're going to be proud of, because you can see that I was down on myself, and so I went into that event and sort of ripped it as hard as I could. And I know that I walked away from every event that weekend knowing that there wasn't a stage where I quit in any event. Like,
Yeah,
I can't think back to any moment where I went, fuck this shit. Like, I got no reps. Everyone got no reps. I got, missed lifts, things like that. But there was no moment where I let those thoughts or those intrusive thoughts come in of like, oh, we'll just sandbag this one or let this go. And that's something I'm really proud of, because it definitely didn't go my way. I, as well, the whole season leading into it, I didn't think I'd qualify. I had this chat with Luke, and like, he's like, you ready? I'm like, I don't think I've qualified before the Open or before quarters. And like, I didn't think, imposter syndrome, like, I didn't think that I deserved to be there. Because I have so many other priorities and I just didn't feel like I'd put in the work.
Yeah, compared to previous years.
Yeah.
It felt like, yeah.
And there's this unknown variable of like, how much fitter did everyone get this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until the Open where I think I finished 30th, I want to say, around that mark. And the year before I finished like 70th or 80th. And I was like, oh man, like, maybe I'm okay. Like the work I've been doing is good, and then quarters rolls around and I qualify.
That's a good feeling when you feel that, because
Yeah.
it's like it's encouraging, it's validating.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. We're there. Oh, it's affirming. I can do this. You
Yeah.
know,
It was exactly that. I was like, okay, cool. Like starting to get that little bit of belief.
the momentum begins.
Yeah, but then I got to quarters and I think I was lucky that the events I felt, I mean, people might disagree, but I looked at the quarterfinal workouts and I think that they suited a very certain type of athlete, and that certain type of athlete fits me. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of boys that didn't qualify that like damn well deserved to qualify for Torian. And it was because of things like crossovers, or video submissions going wrong, things like that, that isn't an indicator of exactly how fit they are. And I think
It's an
that
indicator of intelligence.
well, I think that's it's just an indicator.
Crossovers and video submissions.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm just having a laugh.
No, but I think it's an indicator of a stylistic version of programming.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Jay still won. Torian, the fittest people still went. Programming works. But I think that there's a lot of boys that didn't qualify for Torian that deserve to be there. And that was definitely playing in the back of my mind of like, do I deserve to actually be here? Am I actually fit enough to be here? Do I deserve my spot? And I think that with the work I put in, I do. But I also think that there's a lot of boys that missed out that are damn well deserving of being there as well. Which fires me up for next year, and I hope it fires them up for next year as well. Fires anyone up that's hoping to
That's
qualify.
interesting, because I never thought that once this year.
About-
I've never thought about anyone that's didn't qualify thinking that they deserved it.
Yeah, I do. I just know that like on the Start Strength program, there's a lot of us that are fairly competitive, and training with those boys at the camps and stuff like that. Like they're all really fit. You get exposed to it, and then they get one bad workout in quarterfinals, and that's on them obviously, but it puts them out. And it's like I don't think that if you have one bad workout out of 5 or 6 that other people should go instead of you. I think that the programming should send the fittest people to the event that really deserve to be there. And I may be talking myself down in that sense, but that's just something that was weighing on my mind.
I think you're talking more about the actual competitive structure, how the points are allocated, because you're like, if you do one event badly where you get you go to the bottom of the leaderboard and gain 1,000 points because say you came 1,000th in a workout in the open, because you just get exposed or you made a mistake, or even if you made a mistake, I'd be like, well, you still should be fit enough that if you make a mistake, you can still make it in.
Yeah.
But do you think that the structure of that should be different and the way they actually send people in?
I don't know. I don't think I'm qualified enough to. I think.
But what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
No, I think in that regard, in regards to like where in the open you can drop 10,000 points like that, it still doesn't affect you making quarterfinals. I don't think it's a big deal because the pool is so big that they're drawing from. But I think quarterfinals, when you've got 400 athletes competing, then you have a bad event, and a whole bunch of random dudes that are not in a chance of qualifying anyway have a good event that bumps you down, suddenly you're out of that top 30. I think that can happen. I know a few people that did happen to. And it's just something that it weighed on my mind. That's all, because I had a good event for crossovers. I got in there early in the morning and I went, fuck, I'm not starting this workout until I can string 40 together. And I think that everyone should do that if you want to be in the top 30. And that was where I drew on my experience from the last few years, is like, I knew people that were like, oh no, like everyone's going to suck at it. I don't need to be great at it. My mind went, everyone that wants to be there is going to be really fucking good at these things. And so if I want to be there, I need to be really good at these things. So I went and practiced them. And then it was a good event for me. I think it was one of my best finishes.
Actually, Russ and I were talking about this yesterday. We were just talking smack in class. And we're talking about, it's actually exactly what you're talking about right now. Russ was saying that like a way that they could do it, because he thinks it should be who's worked hardest the previous year, right? So I think what you're trying to say is some people worked really hard, but they just might not be able to pick new skills up really well. For example, a crossover, right? So Russ was saying like they should just release all the work, like the movements and things at the start of the year, and then it's just like who trains them the most and like the best and whatnot, and then you compete in those. So that's what he was saying, or the people like after quarterfinals release, these are the movements that are going to be, in semis, or these are the movements, or after the Open, these are movements that are going to be in quarterfinals. Let's see who's putting in the work and blah, blah, blah. That's what he was saying.
So what's your question for him, Sam?
No, I'm just. My question is, right? Do you think that's what you should do? Because I sort of see both sides. I see, and I think it makes the sport a little bit exciting, adding new elements. So
Yeah,
I agree, but I don't at the same time, because I think
Not sure on it yet, but
yeah, I would it make it boring if you knew exactly what you were kind of in for?
I credit to us. I would argue that point because CrossFit's one of the things is unknown and unknowable.
Yeah.
Anyone that's been in CrossFit for a long time knows that. It's like, be prepared for the unknown and the unknowable. We knew crossovers were coming because of the games.
Yeah.
If you weren't training it, that's on you.
Yeah. The pirouettes, did they come out of nowhere?
No, they did them at the games. And they did the single leg unbroken pistol.
I guess they did do.
They did it. You got the warning, and if you're not paying attention to CrossFit Games, you're not paying attention to main site in your programming, and you want to be competitive. What are you doing? Like, all of that stuff was warned. Like, it's where it's CrossFit. We're asked to adapt on the spot. Can't adapt on the spot. That's on you, and that's why it's also that argument ahead when I think about the guys that didn't qualify. It's like they didn't adapt on the spot.
Yeah,
and that's something that's really, really
is that a part of our sport?
It absolutely is a part of our sport. It's just that ability to.
So to have set events would take that away. So you're saying no, you wouldn't want set events.
No, I wouldn't want set events, and I wouldn't want set movements.
Yeah.
I want to find out the day before and go, well, how is my training prepared me for this moment? Because that's what CrossFit is. GPP, general physical preparedness. That's what it prepares us for. Is for the unknown and the unknowable. And let's hope that our training's prepared us well enough to do the things that we're going to have to do. Like, no one in the top 30 in the men couldn't do any of the movements that are at Torian.
It's extreme GPP.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like there's riding your bike, and then there's the half pipe event. At the X Games, we do extreme GPP.
But it's relative to the.
But there's CrossFit, the fitness program, and then there's CrossFit, the athletic sport too.
Yeah.
So, but a part of that is, the GPP, the random side of it.
I would say the unknown and the unknowable aspect applies to both, but then training for CrossFit, the sport, shouldn't be compared to training for CrossFit for life.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the day that I'm just turning up to the gym and doing CrossFit.
But I think that justifies why you made it, though, because before you were saying you feel like you shouldn't have made it because you only made it because you're good at these skills. But now that you're talking about it, you're actually saying that no, that is actually a part of CrossFit is adapting.
Yeah, well, I think that's
so I think that you're sort of going with.
I do think that I deserve to qualify.
Yeah.
I know that I put in the work, and I put in the work for my 11th season of CrossFit.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of shit that guys haven't done,
Yeah.
and I've worked on that, and that's just because I've been
experience.
I've got experience. And they
can't buy experience.
No, and they will gain experience from what happened to their quarterfinals, and I know they'll come back next year and be fitter and more capable than ever. And then that's great. That's just part of.
But Daddy got to qualify.
One thing I actually wanted to talk to you guys about, right? And I reckon everyone listening here might know what I'm talking about. Spectating, no offense to you guys. No offense.
I do my best.
But spectating wasn't the most exciting, I don't think. The workouts were...
We tried to blow out a couple of workouts to make it interesting.
Yes. I said
the workouts
on in the 8.
The workouts were a little bit, I could say, stale. As I said, I don't want to talk shit about CrossFit, but
you were spectating event 8 though.
Yeah,
that was lit. That was
but
there was 7 events at Torian.
Awesome. We can talk about that after. But
it was a bit stale, wasn't it?
Watching was a little bit stale. So that's going back to what I was saying before. I was like, where the hell is everyone? Go outside, they're all vibing. Like, I kind of get it because the workouts weren't the most fun. There was no real racing. It was so... Everyone was just holding back because there was something hard that they had to hold back for.
There was a lot of
and then it was like, who did that thing good? And then they go and win. That's what it felt like to me. It was like, okay, who can hold back and compose? And there was some weird movement that was really hard. Then they complete that, and then they win. And then we're just like, okay.
I'm in full argument to bring back Cashman.
Yeah, well, It makes sense. Like, what's wrong with a
Yeah,
fun event, fast event? Like,
I
Jesus.
might put
Give
my,
us the
I
epiphany.
might put my foot in my mouth here, but like, been doing CrossFit for a while.
Yeah.
Been coaching it for a while. It's like CrossFit's moving in a direction away from what it originally was, and it's so you got lots of coaches. Everyone's got a style. The thing that I liked about Castro is that he almost was able to put his style aside and go, like, his style was CrossFit. Like, he programmed CrossFit so amazingly well. He was able to test the athletes, test their work capacity, test their mental toughness, test their skills, but also put on events that were awesome to watch for spectators. Like, were enjoyable events, which is, if it's going to be a good sport, you want to enjoy it. I fear that Bosman and whoever the team he's got that are currently programming he's been wanting to do things for years, and he's finally got the opportunity to do them, but he's almost moving so far in the direction of skills that we can't keep up, and we don't have the work capacity needed to do these things quickly. We maybe have the skill that we can do them a little bit, but we need a few more years to actually catch up. But he's programming workouts that he likes and within his style of training. And obviously everyone has a stylistic approach, but I just feel like this year's Open was fun. All the workouts were fun. They were enjoyable. That's not the Open. The Open's like throwing up 5 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, having one workout that's like, what the fuck just happened to me? There was nothing of that. And it's like, we're going soft. I feel like CrossFit's going soft. It's becoming about like, we're sitting on the rower and I'm sitting on a 155 pace for a 500-meter row because I'm going to do fucking pirouettes.
Yeah,
that's like, I walk out of the phone like, this is a fun workout. Like, this is the highest level comp in Australia and I'm rowing at a 155. What's going on?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I think that workout, if it was just a normal handstand walk, normal handstand push-ups, and normal rope climbs, it would have been unbelievable. Everyone would have been in the stadium cheering.
Even like I didn't say this, even stairs in a ramp. Like, we're all good enough on them. We can all move. Normal legless rope climbs, like even the wall-facing handstand push-ups aren't that hard for that amount of reps. Like, but I just think that Boz and his team are putting an approach into it that's stylistic, and I don't think that you should have. It needs to be more objective in the programming, and it needs to be, I guess. I mean, I just probably first thing I thought about when I saw the Snatch event was like, who the hell are you going to watch? Something Castro did really well was make lifting events. You were able to watch each athlete, and the spectators were able to get around those athletes and cheer them on. This one, we're all getting off the runner at different times. We're all lifting, and we're all really close together. Like, we're worried about dropping the barbell on someone. I'm lifting the exact same time as 3 other guys. There's 2 guys now. He's snatching over 300 pounds. Like, what's the crowd going to enjoy? What's the crowd going to watch? They don't know. It's like movements and workouts are just sort of slapped together, and they weren't given the real time thought and consideration.
I personally think they will receive a lot of that feedback, and let's just hope that they take it on. I think they will, because
they're adaptable.
I love CrossFit. I watch it all the time, and I was like, man, I'm struggling to watch some of these events of, like, obviously not you guys, but like if I'm watching a heat and I don't really know anyone, I didn't really watch.
But I mean, I would say there's like credit to Boz too. Like, I remember the sandbag match from the games. I saw that. I'm like, that was the best event I've ever watched. It was fucking unreal. And so it's like, you do have to do things that are different, that haven't been done, and you're going to make mistakes. And you're going to get things right. And he's got to be allowed a grace period. And it's like, it's so easy for me to sit on this couch here and just go, well, this was good and bad. It's like, but it'd be so hard to be in his shoes, making these things, making these big calls. But he has to. Otherwise, of course, we do have to evolve with athletes. I think about the amount of skills we've learned in the last 12 months that we wouldn't have normally learned or practiced because of Boz. Like, that's pretty cool. So.
I do like the new movements, don't get me wrong. I just think there was a lot of them, and they were just restricting some fun workouts. Like, the funnest workout to watch was, well, obviously the last one. The running, because it was simple. Running. The
biking.
Bike, toe to bar, and the sandbag. Was the funnest to watch. And then the next funnest was just the 800-meter sprint on the bike.
I do think it was
on the run. And it just because they were simple.
I do think, though, that, like, if you've got 7 events and you've got 3 of them with an assault runner and 2 of them with an echo bike, and your sport is constantly varied, I think, like, you've immediately got an issue with programming. I think there's a lot of things you could have done that are a lot more varied. You've got a couple of events that are purely held up by skill, or you've got a couple of events that are purely held up by capacity to do a movement, like, guys getting stuck on the dumbbell bench, girls getting stuck on the dumbbell bench, girls getting stuck on the legless rope climbs. They had 4 athletes in Oceania and the women finished that event.
Yeah.
You should be programming events people can finish.
Yeah.
Because
I
no one's
agree.
going to want to watch it.
And I'm thinking about it as someone that actually likes CrossFit. And the reason why I'm saying this, I obviously want CrossFit to get bigger and more money and everything for everyone. The only way that we're going to make more money in CrossFit so you guys can get rewarded more and athletes can actually make money is if people freaking come. Yeah. So I think, and I personally think there will be a big drop off of people who went to Torian, especially who came far from, obviously people in Brisbane, it's not that bad, but if you travelled a long way and went, like, you might not go next year. Personally, that's how I felt. And that just annoys me because I'm like, I want the stadium full so you guys get money. That's just where I think, because I want the sport to actually grow and develop. And it's not going to grow and develop without spectators. So they should definitely be thinking about the spectators.
I agree.
But yeah, that's my thoughts.
My next question for you, Ben, is if you think back to the most magical moment for you in the past weekend, what was it? That you did.
That I did.
That you did in one of your events.
Oh, it's an event.
Oh.
Something you did physically that you've been training for your whole life. Something just cool that, just satisfied you. Come on, bit of self-love, Benny. Bit of self-love. Bit of gratitude, man.
I don't think, I can't think of a single moment that stands out that I did anything particularly great on the weekend.
There was a greatest moment for you, though. You know what I mean? Take a win.
What was your burpee one? That one was good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I keep forgetting about that event. I went to do muscle ups in a ruck, pistols, and burpee box jump overs.
Yeah.
So when that event was announced, I couldn't do pistols in the ruck or in my vest on my left leg. Just really shit at pistols.
Yeah.
And so I just hammered it for 2 weeks. I went, I'm not going to let something like this stop me.
Yes.
I'm not going to be that guy that can't do it. Which I was. And then just hammered my position, did all the things I needed to do. And then that ended up being, I think, my second best event on the weekend.
Let's go.
So that's pretty cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what did you do? How did you go from not being able to do the pistol with school bag on to being able to do a pistol with school bag on?
So I mobilised my ankles, as everyone should do.
Yeah.
Particularly
Favourite sort of mobility drill? What's your favourite one?
Put a band around my ankle, put a weight plate on my knee, and just sort of sit there and rock back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Band and ankle distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sick one because it's like
it works.
It does. Yeah.
I
don't know if the band and the weight plate does anything, but you believe that it does.
So the weight plate does something.
So you push the stretch, and you push the stretch as hard as possible because you've got a weight plate and a band on. You know what I mean? So
theoretically, it works.
I'm just an athlete. I don't know these things.
And my ankle range improved, and I measured it. It improved. So I did. I'm a man of science. I want to see if these things actually work, and it did.
100% it would have.
And then I did obviously practice pistols in the vest, which didn't go very well. And I'm like, okay, we need to do more than this.
So you started body weight. When did you add a weight? Did you do tempo? How many reps did you do? How many times a week did you do it? Like, what do you do to get better at your pistols?
I did pause pistols. So I went, where am I lacking in the movement? It's the bottom position. I feel really weak down there. So if you're generally weak in a position, spend time in that position.
Yeah.
So I did 3 sets of 3 on that leg, and I do 10-second hold at the bottom of each rep and hold in an active position. So not like losing tension or anything like that. And over the course of probably a week of doing that.
So you'd get to the bottom and you wouldn't sit down on your calf.
No, I'd hold.
You'd hold in that single
Can
squat.
you sit down on your calf though?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I can sit down on my calf. But I
just check it. We're talking mobility here.
I can see you just looked at me like I can't sit down on my calf. Is that what you were thinking?
I definitely can't on my left leg.
I'd need to have them to sit on. But anyway, I just sat there for 10 seconds and got comfortable there.
Yeah.
And they're by no means good. Like I was still slower than everyone else on the pistols, but they didn't stop me with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, so but now as well, like I'm gonna I'm gonna keep working on it.
I was like, woo!
Wasn't you talking to me about that they should know rep if your heel comes off the floor?
Yes.
That was you.
Ooh, that'd be.
I was like, someone was telling me about this. I'm pretty sure it was you.
Yeah, it's virtuosity, right? It's another thing in CrossFit is to do the common uncommonly well. And we look at range of motion standards, but we don't look at movement standard. And what is it in CrossFit? Mechanics, consistency, intensity. And we look at the athletes, and it's intensity, consistency, then mechanics. And like that shouldn't be the case. And what I was joking about this with another coach there, but it's like, when are they going to bring in the standard on pistols that your heel has to stay on the ground? Like, it's a bullshit standard. It'll never happen. But it should be, because it's like...
Why? Because it's etiquette. It's not a movement
It's
standard.
for
It's
it, man.
etiquette.
It's correct movement, and pistols get a bad rap because they're bad for people's knees. It's like, they're not bad.
Then we have to do it in every other squat variation too.
Well, you should.
Well, that's like, if we're going to do that, then we're going to do that. And I'm like, do you really? Then what are you fighting for here, Benny?
I'm not making the argument they should ever do this because it would create a whole more problems than it should. But it's
Charge would be freaking hard.
You like that
If it
dude
was-
that put his hand up 10 times in the briefing, and,
Yeah.
and now we're not allowed to. Now we have to catch straight arm on leg
yes,
muscle.
This is my point. Is like when we did a snatch and clean jerk, it should be weightlifting standards.
Right.
You shouldn't be allowed to press shit out.
Right.
Because it, like, what does CrossFit get a bad rap for is, like, our movement. We move like shit. Because we're allowed to move like shit.
Mm.
But the best in the world don't.
Mhm.
But then it's like, for some reason...
Some do.
Some do. It's like, I'm not saying that's
True.
ever going to be the case, and that should ever be the case, because CrossFit is its own sport. It's a beautiful thing.
But it's got to have movement standards. There's got to be rules.
Yes.
And there's got to be safety guidelines. And you
Yes.
think, as a safety guideline, a movement standard should be in place that your heel should stay on the floor in a pistol squat.
Potentially.
Like, if it happened, you'd be like, told you, bro. Told you.
Nah,
It's safer.
It's just funny because this guy's left. It's just funny to me because this guy's left heel was
Mine.
yeah.
It
not
does
on
that.
the floor.
It was now better than it was 2 weeks ago.
Mate, when I get on that floor, I do whatever feels good.
Yeah.
Did you tell Belinda this? No.
No, I
Because
don't know.
I was
talking
I
about
was
it with someone else.
Yeah, I was in an Uber with
Let's
Belinda.
roll around the traps.
I was in an Uber with
Yeah.
Belinda, right? And she's like, Sam, like, I thought you had to keep your heel down in a pistol. I was like, nah, you be on your
But
toes.
if you're on your toes, it's harder to get your hip pressed by your knee
It is.
because you rock everything forward.
Yeah.
So you essentially make
if your knee does rock forward.
yourself. Yeah. You
So,
essentially make it easy. For
as a coaching standard at underweight, you vote for heels down and
Yes.
down pistol in class.
I
Well,
mean,
I think that's what
What-
Belinda did.
Yeah.
So she's saying, and when she used to train, that was what they didn't let her
Yeah.
go pistol on your toe.
no,
When I'm coaching, I don't. No.
No.
Yeah.
no, I don't think you should. Like
I'm getting
pistols,
opinionated now.
Yeah. I've got I had a 10-kilo plate under my heel when I'm.
pistols get a bad rap because they hurt people's knees.
Mm.
No, it's like your knees can't handle doing pistols. It's not pistols' fault.
used to.
But like they're not a bad movement. I use pistols to rehab my knees.
That's it.
And it was the way that I did them that they became effective. It's not a bad movement. It's like you're just not doing it properly.
In a general consensus, though, I think knees over toes, whatever that dude's saying,
Yeah.
has done huge things
Yeah.
for Olympic weightlifting style squatting.
Yeah, massive.
Well, even on the YouTube comments now. YouTube comments. Do you read the YouTube comments on lifting?
Yeah.
Yeah, now there's a lot more people backing CrossFit, which is good to see. But, anyways, just a little side note there.
Do you find it challenging to find your wins?
Yeah, it's very hypercritical.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, how do you find that balance between like being a confident athlete, because it does take a level of confidence to go and snatch 125 kilos in front of 5,000 people, and find that confidence, but then also like keep yourself level-headed to make sure you're working on your weaknesses. It sounds like you can tend to be more towards the side of being, what did you say, hypercritical of yourself. So like, how do you navigate that? How do you balance that just within yourself?
Good question. I think it comes down to
Well, do you balance it, first of all? Or do you think you don't?
I don't think I do balance it. to
I
be
think at
honest.
times you definitely would.
I think you have to like. I will say this. I think it helps having good people around you, and it's a proof as to why you probably can't compete at a high level by yourself.
Mm.
Because I will always be way more critical of myself than anyone else will be. And even talking to people, like I've had lots of people say, like, I'm so proud of you for this weekend and you did so well. And me in my head, I'm like, I got 25th, I did shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thought in my head, but then it does get overridden with like, no, you should be really fucking proud of yourself. But it's really hard to hear that voice. And so it's really nice when I got people like Anna or members at the gym or even just friends on social media and stuff, just reminding you of like all the good things that you did and the positive impact that you played, or maybe you inspired them or anything like that. And so it's really important to just be surrounded by really good people, your coach, whatever, that sort of override that voice in your head. It's also really good as well on the flip side is like you've got people looking from the outside in, just giving you objective information on things that you can do better. So,
but those people aren't always correct. And the people that are affirming you aren't always correct either. So it comes back to you being in the middle and having that moral compass. But I definitely see what you mean, like having that, like having affirming people around you and like to be able to pick you up. But then not having that person that's like, your shit, like your shit pistols. You need to get better pistols. And it's like, no, like my pistols are alright, actually. Like, no, I think my pistols are okay.
Yeah.
Or when that person says it to you, it's like people that are just willing to tell you the truth around you.
Yeah, I think that just comes down to the quality of the people you surround yourself with. I'm lucky that I've got some really fucking good quality people around me, coaching wise and just friends that know what to say and know when not to say something. Like I said this going into the weekend, Anna and I had a safe word. That was
okay. Pineapple.
I think it was peaches or pineapple. But it was to be used when I didn't want to be talked to.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a headspace to talk. And it was fantastic. Like she was unbelievable. And you know, she gets so stressed out.
Is that about CrossFit?
Yeah, no, it's about
just,
are we still talking about CrossFit?
Yeah.
I was just confirming if it's like a question like, are we going to get food now?
No.
Can you take the handcuffs off now?
Yeah, no,
The handcuffs off.
It's about CrossFit. It's just like after an event, if I'm in a bad mood, and I don't want to talk, it didn't actually happen on the weekend, but she's so stressed out because she's like, she doesn't know what to say, doesn't know what to do. You don't have to do or say anything.
No.
It's like there's no justification. I've already gone through everything in my head. I'll talk about it when I'm ready. I'm being hypercritical of myself. I know when you walked in after your event, the leg swipe one didn't go to plan. I'm like, I didn't know, you're my mate. I care about you. I'm like, fuck. I remember watching the thing going, he's going to get a fucking world record. This is sick.
Like, say it.
And then on my live feed, I'm like, where is he? Where's he gone? And then you come back in and...
I will flip these tables.
Yeah. And he's sitting there just like smiling, but just like this. And I'm like, I know what that feels like. Because I walked over, just gave you a pat on the back and just went like, can't remember what I said to you. But it was, but it's like, what do you say to someone in that situation? They're already beating themselves up next level. But you also don't want to be like, hey, put a silver lining around it. Because there is no silver lining. It's shit. It sucks. You work your ass off for a year and you do something that you weren't planning on doing, it fucking sucks. And you also sometimes, like, someone just goes, man, like, that fucking sucks, eh? It's like, yeah, it does. You need to process that. You need to move through it to actually be able to get over it. And the worst things, like, I hate it when people walk up to me and go, like, oh, it's going to be okay. Like, don't stress about it. It's like, no, like, I worked my fucking ass off to be here. I made so many sacrifices to be here. This is shit. Let me sulk.
Yeah.
And I'll sulk for 5 minutes and I'll get over it.
Yeah.
And so it's having...
Let me feel what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
100%, I'm with you. Let me go through it. Let me process it.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, you're not going to get over it. It's having people around you that support that and care about that. And they will come and talk to you when you're ready and open to it.
So you've just got steam blowing out your ears and you're just looking at Anna like, pineapple!
Yeah. Yeah, she gets it.
What about all the members? They would have just bombarded you.
Yeah, I just stay in the athlete area. There are a few moments where I was pissed off at myself. Performances and you know I know that every member is going to want to ask you how you're feeling, what's going on, how are you feeling okay, did you sleep well, and everyone's going to want to ask you that because they care about you and they love you, and it's really lovely. But sometimes you just don't want to be asked because you don't, like, I'm a very genuine person. I'll give you my honest answer. If I'm pissed off and I'm angry, I don't want to sell that to you. So I'm just not going to make myself available until I'm feeling okay.
I think people do pick it up though, because like I had these people going like, "Oh, how the boys feel?" I'm like, honestly, just like I just haven't spoke to them. They're like, "Oh, like okay," and I could see that they sort of understood that they just needed to give some of you guys time at some points.
Yep.
You have to enter the bubble.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bubble.
Well, even like the day before when we were checking, like I remember talking to Jay and Maddie, and I caught myself saying, "How you feeling?" And I'm like, "Fuck, shut up," because nobody knows how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And someone asked me how you feel. I'm like, I don't know. Like you're in this moment of flux before the event. That's like, is all the work I've done the last 12 months going to pay off? Is all the sacrifices I've made going to pay off? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I angry? Am I fired up? Am I feeling good? Am I sick? I don't know. You're just like happy to be here. You know, it's a really weird feeling that is hard to explain unless you've ever been in a really stressful environment before, where you've put a lot on the line to be there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, navigating that is a challenge in itself. And you know, so what are things you like to think about when you're navigating those things yourself?
Just remind myself how grateful I am to be there and how grateful I am to have people around me that care about me.
Yeah, gratitude, just come back to that thought of what I'm thankful for, and that tends to be the people that you have around you, and you said to be there as well, to be where you at that spot.
Just to be grateful and be present.
Why does it mean so much to you? Why does it mean a lot to be there and have these people, you know, support you there? And what's driving you to go and do this thing?
I don't know.
We get deep, boys.
My why has changed over the years a lot. Sure yours has as well.
Let's throw this back at me.
No,
Just
let's
kidding,
go.
it's fun. There it is. There it is. I'm gonna hit skip.
My why has changed a lot.
You answered it before. It's because you like training.
Yeah, I love training.
Usually is a simple answer.
Yeah.
I love training. I think that my performance as an athlete validates what I have to say as a coach. Or it aids to that. I think if you can do a nice muscle up, your people will be more inclined to learn a muscle up from you. I think if you can walk out on a competition floor and sell your soul, when you tell people to go hard in a workout, they're going to be more inclined to probably do that because they've seen you demonstrate it. I think that me being a good athlete, me being a good coach just adds validity and it shows that I'm walking the walk. I'm demonstrating the life that I try and prescribe to members. And the higher the level that I can perform at, I think it just increases the validity of the message that I'm trying to put out. So regardless of really my performance or my placing, I think what is more important to me nowadays is the effort involved and the integrity that I have as a person in achieving that, and being proud of my achievements, but also acknowledging and being like proud of the people that are around me, and not being if I have a bad event, not being a dick to them, not sulking around and not being an asshole, but being grateful for them and grateful for the effort that they put into me as well. And so it's like, those are all the things that keep me going and keep me motivated to keep training, more than just the placing.
And isn't it funny when you are a dick or an asshole, you won't realise you're doing it?
No, sometimes I do. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, or like, do you know, like, or yeah, sometimes you do catch yourself. Or it's like, it'll be oftentimes, I know, I'm just talking from me, like, I go, oh shit, did I just say, did I say that, did that sound loaded the way I said that? Like, did I have a tone when I said that?
It's just when you're coaching.
I was like, because I'm like, it's any time. And literally it could be any time, but especially when we're competing, because that's when you are in this heightened state of like.
And that's why I said, like, I reminded myself every event when I run out, look at the underweight people and give them a wave and say thank you, because I cannot express the amount of gratitude that I have to those people. The amount of gratitude I have that flew up 2 states to come and watch. And I know that they flew up to watch everyone compete in Torian.
They came up to get pissed.
But they came up to watch.
Just kidding.
They came up to watch you, me, and Seb compete. And all the messages of support, all the love.
They came out to check out fit dudes.
Yes.
There actually wasn't that much drinking this year. But anyway, continue.
Anyway, that's not saying.
So he's like, we were good this year.
We were good.
We were behaved.
But I feel really bad over the weekend because I I sort of, like we seclude ourselves because that's what you're there for. And I feel like I just want the members to know how grateful I am. And it's like, so I make sure to look up and wave and smile. And when I leave the floor, even if I had a bad event, it's like, look up, say thank you, blow Anna a kiss. It's like, do the thing, show the gratitude, because these opportunities don't come around very often. We don't get to compete very often. That may be the last year I ever get to compete at Torian. The last thing I'd want to remember is me walking off the floor with my head held, like tail between my legs, pissed off at my effort when I've got all these people in the room that love me. And it's like, just show them the gratitude that they deserve.
Yeah.
Because they're showing you so much.
I also think you have an excuse anyway, because you weren't freaking allowed to go in our section. But people that weren't at Torian that don't know what I'm talking about, we were sitting in the silver premium section. Anyways, for some reason, athletes, when they pay their $514 or whatever it is to go in, they don't get a premium band; they get an athlete band.
Shocking.
And then the security wouldn't let them come down and say hi to us, and like it actually pissed me off. I got in a few arguments with some security, which I shouldn't have, because I know the message comes a little bit higher. But I was like, dude, like, I got mad when they didn't let Seb come in. Right? I was like, Seb is 15 years old. He just PR'd his Snapchat and said, you just watched number one, and all these people from this gym, which we have rows A, B, C, and D, is coming to say hello, and then they're like, I'm like, can you give him 2 minutes? And they're like, oh, we'll give him one. I'm like, oh, whatever. Seb, come down. And then then Seb came through, waved, said hi, whatnot. Yeah. But like, to me, that just, Anyways, that's me.
Why? What is it? What is it?
Well, it's shit because, it's just bringing the sport back again. And what I'm saying is we're here to.
Because I agree with you.
People fly up to see you guys, right? And obviously you're an owner of Underway as well. And they wouldn't even let you go say hi to your community. It's ridiculous.
Right.
But that was the only thing that really annoyed me, was the athletes couldn't even come and say hi to their communities.
Yeah, I think the frustrating was in previous years it was no problem.
Yeah.
But we weren't told. There was nothing mentioned about that this year. It's like, if I'd have known that, I'd have purchased myself a ticket.
Yeah.
These events cost a fuckload of money to run. I understand that. The effort that Mike and Jono go to is phenomenal. But just let us know, because I want to sit with my family. I don't want to sit in the bond section where.
Hold on, but did you end up going to get a wristband?
Yeah, I got
yeah, because she escorted me to go get a wristband, and then I got one and then come back.
Yeah, but that was a swindle. That wasn't a. Sorry.
Wasn't a for everyone.
No, yeah, right. That was me going, I purchased 54 tickets, one that hasn't scanned one, I don't have the email.
It was crazy because I was like, I'd gone and said hi to the Underway members, and I was in the middle of signing a baby's forehead. And I like didn't finish off the C and the K in Jack, and I was like, it just says Ja, but that's how a baby would say it anyway. So it was all good. And then and then the security came in and got me, and I was like, yo, I'm just trying to sign babies' foreheads, like I'm just trying to do my thing as an athlete, give back,
Was there a rumor that they tried to kick you out of the competition?
What for?
I put it in the plane.
Yeah, Betty's
You wouldn't shut up in there.
Someone told me that they told you that if you don't leave and you get escorted out of here, you can't compete. Is that false?
I don't know. I don't know.
You must have been in space mode.
Look,
because I had 5 people tell me that was said.
Look, I mean, things travel around fast. This is the first I've heard of it.
Oh, well then maybe not. Maybe don't quote us on that one.
Yeah, but who'd you hear that from? I don't know.
Well, from your mum. She told me.
Mum was saying that they were going to ban me from competition.
Well, they said if you get escorted out, because you wouldn't leave from the section.
Right.
They said if you get escorted out by security, you're not allowed to compete.
Oh,
which was like,
so that was like trying to pull me away.
Yeah, you need to leave the underway section, where we're all sitting.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get escorted out, which means you won't compete.
Yeah.
Anyways, but.
Right.
That was my only thing. Like it just sucked. I think it just sucked for even just some of our members that they just want to say hi to you guys but yeah, they just wanted to say hi to you guys. And
the different thing about this sport, though, on a serious note, is that our sport is not like anyone else's sport in the way that we have such a strong tie to our communities, and the athletes come from gyms that have really tight-knit communities that actually come up and travel interstate to follow them and watch them. Like, random example. Say Roger Federer was playing in that tennis stadium. Say he was playing. Like, how many people would actually come up to watch him and play, like from his home gym and his country to come and play? You know, and it's a bigger spectrum. But like, you know, not many people. Not many sports are like that, so security just probably have no idea and would not understand that, and they're just doing their job and what they're told to do at the end of the day.
I reckon he would be able to sit anywhere in that sense.
But then again, it was the organisers. The organisers are CrossFitters and are telling the security what to do.
Yeah,
so
I'm not blaming them. That's a
you know, the organisers are just being like we were allowed to go and sit in the bronze section. They're trying to do their seating organised. They're trying to have boundaries because, you know, people are losing seats because athletes are sitting in chairs. It's an organisational nightmare. They do a pretty good job, but that's one thing I'd probably like to see them do.
I would just like the heads up.
Yeah, that would if they let us know that you guys couldn't go there, we would have obviously just
bought tickets.
Let's see, so you can go down.
Happy. Just, it was the fact that we just didn't get a heads up.
Yeah, but it all works for me. We end up getting you guys silver bands anyway, silver premium bands, and
yeah, and then it was fine, and I could finish the CNK on the baby's forehead, which was good.
Yes.
Yeah, so how are we going for time here? We're moving on pretty well. Ben, is there anything just you want to chat about for the touring experience? You know, just throw it over to you for a second.
Isn't that all we just chatted about for like the last hour?
Oh.
Yeah, but I think Jack's asked if you want to ask him a question.
Oh, no, that's not what I was asking.
Oh, okay.
You can come back on and interview me later in the week if you want to be involved. Because done. He's like, I'm going to grill you. All right, well, I want it, so I've got to think of more questions to grill you.
Actually, just for the viewers, I don't think you mentioned this. We're going to sort of interview Jack next week. We just thought, like, because there's so much with Torian and there's so many different perspectives, like, they were just going to focus on Ben today, and then next week we'll focus on Jack. That's why it's fun. But Ben's sort of
track will get this time.
How do you celebrate? Did you celebrate differently this year? Like, we had a bit of fun on Sunday night. Like, are there any rules that you have in your celebration that you follow as an athlete, or you're like, nah, gun ho on Sunday night?
No, not really. I hate being hungover. But I didn't really want to get home. No, I was tired. I was very proud of myself. I had 7 whole drinks and I wasn't hungover.
Dude, I reckon you had more than that.
That's good.
No, like 7.
You counted.
But actually, if you have one drink of alcohol, you will be hungover.
I don't know if I get the shots. I don't want
No one ever counts the shots.
Once do you have 2 to 3 shots?
No, I had 1 shot. One. There was a 5-ball from Jack. No, I don't have any, like, That
was at the bar where you could, they had the spotting camera. Where you could check your form on the dance moves.
Yeah, actually, that cracked me up. I'm just going to call Jack out here. This was funny. I just remembered just then. So Jack,
we need one of those.
Jack goes to the bar, and all the underway people are just there. Quite all of them. Just like,
if you tell them you got to get one for the gym, though.
Yeah, and then Jack's like, "All right, I'm gonna get shots for everyone." He's like, "No worries." I'm like, "Yeah, no worries. I'll be back." And then so Jack orders the shots. And then, did you pay half? I didn't know I was paying the other half.
Yeah, we went half.
Yeah,
I was like, "Come here, man." I'm like, "Tori was expensive, man. Come and pay for these shots.
Come back,
but don't tell anyone you paid."
And I had to pay for half the shots. And then, anyways, it just cracked me up.
So we got 9 shots, aka fireball on ice, because you're not allowed to do shots in glasses.
Yeah. And then you know what else cracked me up as well? Was you had the shot and you were a little bit tired or
it was 10:30 I think when we actually left the after party to go to whatever place we went to. I was falling asleep at 10:30.
Yeah, I remember you were like half asleep.
I was ready to go home.
You're like, and I just had a shot. She's like, why? That's exactly what you said. You said, why not laugh out?
Exactly. That's right.
But no, that was good times. Good times.
No, I don't, like, to answer your question, no, there's no. I was looking forward to just going out and having fun, having a drink, starting a drink, and just like, I had a ginger beer in the fridge in the apartment when I go home.
Oh yeah,
bought that.
Oh, so that's the celebration.
That was my little celebration. I love a good bit, and I would have been happy honestly just to leave it there, and then just go to bed and wake up the next morning and just be happy.
So were you drinking because you're like, oh, I should drink?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, fair.
Just because like that's what everyone was doing, and that's what everyone
Is that
does.
peer pressure?
And there's no way in hell I'm staying up to 2:30 in the morning if I'm not drunk.
Yeah, fair.
Like I would have been asleep. It was either me be drunk or me be asleep.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was also my last opportunity from the weekend, or really my first opportunity for the weekend, to actually spend time with the members
Yeah.
and have a good time and have a laugh and not be stressed.
Mm.
And so I wasn't missing out on
Loosen
that
you up,
stuff.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you earned it, man. You earned a couple drinks, you know.
I reckon we get to ask Jack one question just because I want to know. What was your... Do you have a food or something that you eat after you compete?
Oh, Subway footlong. Wouldn't go Australian.
Not a double
no,
pounder or something?
Actually, I had a double quarter pounder.
Ah, it is a
I
double
did.
pounder.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the first time I had Macca's in like a year and a half.
Was it good? Well, you just instant.
It was really good whilst I was eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the backlash the next morning was something else.
This is something I find interesting.
It wasn't as positive.
Knowing people that are used to eat McDonald's like once or twice a week or 3 times a week, and then they don't have it for a few months, and then they have it, and they're like, I feel like shit. And you're like, yeah, you do. Like, why did you do that to yourself all the time? You don't even know what good feels like. And now you know what good feels like, and you go and do that, and you feel like shit. It's like, man, what's in that stuff?
Well, yeah, I like McDonald's, bro. It tastes good.
Fair enough.
Have you ever
Fair
eaten
enough.
it?
Fair enough.
When was the last time you had McDonald's?
I had a bite of a cheeseburger when I was 10 and spat it out.
Since you were 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're a full send. No fast food dude.
What about, what's another fun? What about KFC? Have you ever had chicken?
I had
the last 10 years?
I cut KFC and I threw up.
This is why he's so jacked, man. If
I
anyone...
call that an eating disorder.
Yeah. I can't do fast food. I can't, like, I can do a good burger.
Yeah.
Like fucking call my burger, whatever you want to call it. But like, I can do a good burger and nice chips and stuff. But like, I just for some reason like KFC, Macca's, whatever. I can't stomach it.
So,
Is it because of the drive-through? Because it has a drive.
No, I'll happily go and get banana bread from McDonald's and be happy as Larry.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay.
But I'll have a cheeseburger.
What about Subway? Do you eat Subway? Nothing.
I have had Subway a little bit lately, like very occasionally, but I feel like shit afterwards. Like it's just like it just doesn't sit well in.
Is it
my
because
gut.
you feel naughty?
No, I honestly I just think that I know it's just like shit, and I'm like, why would I eat this when I can go and eat something else?
Oh, I'm eating poison. But
That's the same I feel when I drink alcohol.
Yeah.
I know it's not doing me anything.
I've definitely agreed with you. I sort of had drank a little bit, then obviously went away and had a few drinks. And I'm just like, wow, I feel so
I
much.
was working out yesterday. Like I couldn't breathe. I felt sluggish. Like my whole body felt like shit.
the difference between fast food and alcohol, though, is that I can achieve the same thing eating other foods that I do with Macca's. Like I end up feeling full. I can have a really yummy meal if Macca's is your favorite meal. But with alcohol, there's a state of mind that you achieve that you can't achieve without it. And that's like the difference between...
Well, alcohol
the two.
inhibits your recovery.
Oh, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good, not good for an athlete. So it's like I could see why you're like, oh, I can't justify like having fast food, but like if someone was like, oh, I could justify having alcohol because it's interesting when you have alcohol. You have a drink and you're like, whoa. you're like, I'm feeling awfully flexible. You're like, I might just test out a few snatches here.
That just reminded me of you dancing on that camera. Were you there?
Yeah.
I feel like we should do
standing behind it laughing.
whiskey and snatches one day because you know they've done whiskey and deadlifts.
Like we should just do the beer mile.
Well, we can do that too. Like that could be another event. Like we'll
What's
make the
the
games
You get a chug of beer every 400 meters.
for 1 mile
For
for
1
4
mile.
times.
Yeah.
So
I was
5 years.
just thinking if I
Wait.
could possibly do that. I don't think.
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
No way.
Depends how fast.
You could.
Is it fastest time wins, and do you get minus time for throwing up?
Oh, probably.
I reckon that's the rule.
You got to
Fast-
think perspective. Technically, you do a beer mile every time you go out. You just don't do it on a track.
Yeah. And
You drink a beer and then you walk
Yeah.
around.
That's
And then you have another beer, and then you walk around, and you do that until you've done a mile. Like if you wear a step tracker, you.
I think there are a lot of members underway that would wipe floor with me in that workout.
That are just cranking beer miles every
Yeah.
weekend training.
Like,
I'm ready for this.
we work out on the weekend. The members train for the beer mile, the beer mile on the weekend. I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the next.
Not all of them. That's not fair, but there'll definitely be a few.
That's the next. That's the next fundraiser. I reckon. Be a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess is that us done?
Mate, I'm happy to wrap up there.
How long have we gone for? Out of curiosity.
That there was hour 27.
Oh.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks so much for coming on, Benny, and
My pleasure.
opening up and sharing your experience about Torian and just showcasing what the human body and mind is capable of when it focuses towards a goal that that is good. I don't know what I'm saying here, but
Thank you.
I just just getting on a roll, just trying to keep speaking. But essentially, just thank you so much for coming on. It's good. I feel like you're a bit more relaxed this time on the potty, which is cool, and I feel it just gets better every single time.
I have one more
finishing.
I have one more question though. Can the members come up and ask you how to start? Because some people will be like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I was just listening to the podcast. Underway podcast on Spotify and on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
He keeps a pen on him at all times,
no.
ready to sign.
No, I don't.
Pectorals.
Absolutely not. Or babies, we don't do it.
But
No, members can come and ask anything. I'm very grateful for them. Yeah,
loves a chat.
absolutely. Absolutely. Just maybe don't expect a very long answer. It was good.
All right.
Think of a cool question that you can ask him that maybe someone else hasn't asked him,
Yeah,
and then
do that.
you'll
Make me
spark
think.
his interest.
Yes, please.
Make me
Don't
think.
ask me how I am.
Yeah.
I'd have to.
Maybe ask me just like what happened, like why did you do so poorly in that event, or why did you do really well in that event?
And then continue to give 15 minutes of advice of how he could do better.
Just ask me about fishing. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then give 15 minutes of advice of how he could be better at fishing.
Yeah, I love advice from people.
All right, I'm done. I'm walking off.
Me too.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Oh.
Woo.